Jesus the Christ. Although this isn't Holy Humor Sunday, I do have a story for you. One day, a group of scientists got together and decided that humankind had come a long way and no longer needed God. So they picked one of their members to go and tell God that they were done with him. The scientist walked up to God and said, "God, we've decided that we no longer need you. We're to the point where we can transplant hearts, extract stem cells, clone people, and do many miraculous things. So why don't you just go on and leave us alone?" God listened very patiently and kindly to the man, and after the scientist was done talking, God said, "Very well, how about this? Let's say we have a man-making contest." To which the scientist replied, "Okay, great." God added, "Now we're going to do this just like I did in the old days with Adam." The scientist said, "Sure, no problem," and bent down and grabbed himself a handful of dirt. "Whoa," God said, shaking his head in disapproval. "Not so fast, pal. You go get your own dirt." Dirt, the very stuff of life, as you may already know, especially if you're a gardener. But not everyone has the same appreciation and understanding of the life potential of dirt, the earth. This coming Wednesday, April 22nd, is Earth Day. Every April 22nd is celebrated as Earth Day. And so this month of April, the Stewardship Committee is focusing on stewardship of the earth. There's an insert again this week for suggestions on how to use fewer resources so as to have less of a negative impact on the earth. And though our texts for today are drawn from the regular lectionary, that 3-year pattern that guides what we read each Sunday, rather than being specifically for Earth Day, I still find them to be quite fitting. Listen to part of our gospel lesson. While they were disbelieving and still wondering, Jesus said to them, "Have you anything here to eat?" Now to me that seems like an odd request for the risen Christ to make. Usually when food is involved, Jesus is the one providing it, not asking for it. Of course, as far as we're told, it's the first food Jesus has had since the Last Supper 3 days before, and perhaps rising from the dead has left him famished. Actually, biblical scholars tell us that Jesus' eating of fish may have been in order to prove to the disciples, who were still wondering whether or not he was just a ghost or an apparition, that Jesus did indeed have a physical body, that it could in fact consume food. This was not just Jesus' spirit appearing to the disciples, but Jesus' resurrected physical body, his earthly body. Ever think about that term, earthly? Not just something that's on earth, but according to the account in Genesis, something that was originally made from earth. And as we were reminded on Ash Wednesday, it is to dust, or ashes, or dirt, or earth, that we have come from, and to which we shall return. Of course, thanks to modern embalming techniques and coffins, most of us no longer truly return to the earth in the same way as we once did. Though if you're cremated, you at least do return to ashes. But I digress. Whether or not we truly return to earth as we once might have done, earth and the earth are still our past, our present, and our future. Elsewhere in the state, there are museums with dinosaur exhibits, excellent examples of our past being found in the dirt. And the gasoline that fuels our cars comes from decomposition of ancient plants and animals in the earth. Agricultural fields throughout the state, our nation, and even the world are examples of both our present and our future. Food production is utterly dependent on the dirt and what can be grown from it. For that, we should be grateful. Yet there are places around the world where such precious dirt is being covered by homes and businesses, reducing the land available for growing food. Now in our second lesson, we are told, "See what love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are." Did you hear that? we are children of God. And according to Genesis, we are made in the image of God. We are also children of dirt, having been made from earth, and we are dependent on the earth. We speak of God as our Father, and perhaps it is just appropriate to speak of Mother Earth. We owe our lives to both the God of creation who formed us, and the earth from which we are made, and from which we continue to draw our sustenance. On Earth Day, we focus on the earth and on all of creation, including all of the elements, air, water, fire, and earth. For we need all of these elements to survive: air to breathe, water to drink, fire to keep us warm, and earth to grow the food we need to eat. This last is also part of our original purpose. For in Genesis we read that humankind was placed in the garden to till and keep it. May we continue to live into our duty, our responsibility to till and keep the earth for ourselves and for future generations. Amen. We sing our hymn of the day, number 740.